hits like I'm spitting. Over beats with drums kicking. How I'm rapping over tracks. Got these cats tongue twisted, but I'm committed to see the glory that he must give. The spirits giving lyrics. I'm just in the wrong with it. I ain't conflicted. I keep my message consistent. I'm no longer standing on stand. My patience unshifted. I come gifted. Lyrics flowing like they drum liquid. Got me flaming up my mic, swimming like the sun kissed it. I'm done with business. For his glory, I still run the distance. Spirit got me flipping over beats like I'm a gymnast. So I'm gon' risk it. No longer heaven's unlisted. What I'm writing now before I couldn't comprehend it. Look, this cat's had it. I couldn't leave my rap stagnant. Had to have another like I wasn't Breaking Bad at it. Got past baggage. The Lord's conquering my bad habits. Now he's got me hopping on these beats like I'm a jackrabbit. This track's classic. Knew I had to take a crack at it. I got a greater foundation than rock than Black Sabbath. I'm back at it. Destination like it's
coming to you live from the Christ the Healer TV studios at the beautiful Lake of the Ozarks. This is the 1412 Live, helping you to do the works and the greater works. Here's your host, Don Allen.
Of America. Hillary or Trump, abortion or not, refugees from foreign countries or not, Obamacare taxes or not, working against the church or not. Will you go with a woman surrounded and drowning in scandals, the one who says you, the church, you've got to change your beliefs towards gays and abortions? Or will you go with the guy who says mean things, doesn't talk presidential at all, has too much money, been divorced, thinks too highly of himself? These are the real issues that you're voting for here. Right. Coming up, 47 days. I know there's people attached to those issues. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Kane, Pence, private school princess, God's favorite tattooed daughter. My favorite tattooed daughter, Shai, is in the studio with me today.
Good morning.
Good to see you this morning. I didn't even get a chance to talk to you this morning. Are you doing all right?
I'm here.
I think we're all feeling like we're running behind this morning.
Yes.
Is that how you feel?
Definitely.
I feel that way.
No
this
shame.
morning.
I woke up at 8:30. It happened.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, she's going to bring the millennial view to the subject. We're going to box her into that title, millennial view to the subject. We're also we're going to be joined via Skype this morning. They're working on that from high atop the mountains on Big Island, Hawaii. Matt Davis is going to be with us here in just a little bit. They're getting all the issues worked out there on getting Matt hooked up with this. I think he's online with this, but we're going to get his audio going here on the radio in just a little bit. Let me just lead off this week's program with a little commentary, if I can. Here we have riots in Charlotte, North Carolina happening.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Did you see that?
On the news this morning.
And here's the thing. This is what is troubling to me, because it was a black officer that shot a black man. And the black man that they shot had a gun, and they're going to riot anyway. Right. So, I mean, now it doesn't even matter if they're guilty or not, gun or not. If you're going to shoot anybody that's not white, I guess, then there's going to be riots, because all the protesters were saying he had a book. Well, the black police chief came out today and said, these are the facts as we know them. He had a pistol. He had a gun. And he pulled that gun out, did not obey, got shot. So they're rioting. That's my point. They're rioting this morning. We have domestic terrorists setting off bombs. They were bombs, by the way. We're going to discuss that word, bombs. You said bomb on a plane. You can't say bomb. But we're going to talk about bombs. We have money going out by the billions to terrorist countries. And our president saying yesterday at the UN, what, you're all upset because it was done in dollar bills and not done by a check or via, you're making a big deal out of it because it was pallets of money? I think he's missed the point. I don't think he understands what's going on. And here's the problem. All of this because, and again, maybe you think I'm nuts, but 4 million evangelicals did not vote in the last election cycle. Who would have thought we'd ever be this divided as a nation? Cops being hunted and killed. A group called Black Lives Matter calling for killing of cops. What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them? Now. That's what they're saying. It's recorded. It's real. And this is while the president is praising them. Black Lives Matter, doing a good job, he says. And the church is silent. And here's a commentary. It's this: why don't pastors take up the social issues from the Bible? This is the question. Why don't they give us direction on politics from the pulpit? And I feel like the problem lies in a lack of backbone to stand up and fulfill what it is that the Bible is saying and teaching people truth. That's what I think. That's the real issue. It's not about politics as much as it's about the truth. Speak truth to the public realm, right? That's the whole deal. The Great Commission: preach the gospel to everyone. This is why I felt about 2 months ago that I had to talk about this, because people aren't hearing truth. They're not hearing truth. What you're hearing is name calling. We're getting news bits. We're getting clips that focus on nothing important to the believer anyway. Right. I mean, Donald Trump's son comes out and talks about Skittles, and the news media blows up for 30 minutes of the day because he compared immigrants to Skittles.
Hey, this is hot topic stuff.
This is what's important.
Right.
This is important. Last time I checked, his son wasn't running for president.
Right.
Right.
Who knows, really, though? What
right?
is the truth?
Dun, dun, dun. What a spin. Shy's brain is moving. I really believe that the pulpits are failing to reach out on politics. I think this is an issue. The news organizations are being caught in lie after lie daily. Now we have reports coming out that they've caught the media in another lie, skewing the polls, editing out certain words that candidates are saying and adding some to others, and another cover up. And see, the church isn't going to tell you anything. They're not going to address it because of fear. So they're allowing the government to already control the pulpits out of fear. We are to call out leaders. We are to call out rulers, governments, laws, abuses, and demand liberty and justice. That's what we're supposed to do. But the biggest lie, I believe, overall, is the view that the pulpit has no place in politics. And since when? That's what I want to know. Since when? Since when do we ever lay aside our beliefs for anything?
Right.
That's the real question. Stay away from politics and just preach the gospel. Well, here's a quote from Chuck Baldwin, a minister and a former candidate for the Constitution Party. In case you didn't know, we had a Constitution Party at one time, I guess, that he was running for. Green Party, Constitution Party. I don't know. What else?
Toga
Libertarian, Toga Party. The millennial speaks.
I'm trying to bring it back down to earth.
Bring it back. Former candidate of the Constitution Party. He says, if the only thing that God expected us to do was to preach the gospel, why did he give us a voluminous Bible, which is filled with examples, principles, and truths relating to virtually every important area of life? If one takes only those scriptures that deal specifically with the gospel, he or she is going to have a very small Bible, he says. The stories of the Old Testament, for example, were written for our learning. He references Romans 15:4. Hebrews 11 challenges us with examples of Old Testament men and women who were not afraid of the king's commandment, who did not fear the wrath of the king, who subdued kingdoms, waxed vigilant in fight, and who turned the flight of the armies of the aliens. And I'm thinking of the 3 Hebrew boys myself who stood against a king who said, you have to bow to him. And I feel like that's what the church is doing right now. I think the churches are bowing to the government because they're afraid of a little heat. They didn't, I guess they didn't read their Old Testament. They seem to be afraid of the government. Furthermore, the Apostle Paul spent about as much time in jail as he did out of jail. And of course, he was thrown in jail for breaking the unjust, evil laws of men. Every apostle except John was killed by tyrannical governments because they refused to submit to unjust laws. To argue that pastors should avoid politicking and just stick to preaching, I suggest is not only unbiblical, but it is un-American, he says. American history is replete with examples of clergymen who carried the torch of liberty and helped secure it for our country. Churches became the primary source that stirred the fires of revolution, advocating the king and parliament were trampling upon the inalienable rights of the people. They knew well those passages from scripture like Romans 13 that required submission to civil authority. Familiar with passages requiring them to resist ungodly authority. In fact, it was out of the churches that watchwords during the American Revolution like no king but King Jesus and resist to tyrants as obedience to God were born. I could talk about Reverend John Peter Gabriel Muhlenberg, who after completing a sermon from Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven, stepped down from the pulpit, removed his robe, and revealed the uniform of a colonial army officer to lead 300 men from his congregation to join General George Washington as the 8th Virginia Cavalry. I could also share concerning Reverend Johannes Clark, who at one night, Paul Revere's famous ride, was asked by John Hancock and Samuel Adams if the men of Lexington would fight. Clark replied, "I have trained them for this very hour. They would fight and if need be die too under the shadow of the house of God." But let me reference Baldwin here, who says, he rightly argues that preaching the gospel by itself will not save America. Christians have to be taught how to understand, how to discern the difference between good and evil, the principles of law and justice, jurisdictional authority, and the principles of Christian resistance. As long as pastors refrain from teaching these essential and necessary truths, our nation will continue its slide into tyranny and oppression, all the gospel preaching going forth notwithstanding. Granted, the primary purpose of the church is to proclaim Christ, this says. The mission undergirds all of the work of God's people. Nevertheless, true discipleship neglects no need, it recoils at no duty. Martin Luther is reported to have summed it up, I think, in this fashion: if I profess with the loudest voice and the clearest exposition every portion of truth of God except precisely that little point which the world and the devil are at that moment attacking, I am not confessing Christ. However boldly I may be professing Christianity, just the loyalty of the soldier is proved, and to be steady on all battlefields besides is mere flight and disgrace to him if he flinches at that one point. Luther's summation on the matter begs another question. If politics and preaching do mix, and according to the scriptures they do, and if the practice of such is also what made America, then how many preachers are both traitors to the cause of Christ and to their country? This will not get me invited anywhere, Shai. I want you to know this.
Who's Don Allen again?
Who was that? We here at the 1412 Live, we're going to give you both politics and preaching together, and we're going to come out better understanding that again. 47 days we will vote our beliefs.
That's insane.
I think we have a Matt. Do you know? Is Matt with us? Are you there, caller? I'm not hearing him. I see his lips moving. We need subtitles. All right. Well, Matt's not with us yet, but I was going to ask him if we how many days until the first debate? We've got one coming up. I want everyone to watch that. You need to find out when that is. I do want to say, and please don't lose sight here, America feels like it has to vote for a protector. And I want us to remember this. We already have one. Mm-hmm. That no matter who gets into the office, we believers already have a protector. Romans 8:38 and 39. I thought, man, we better pull out some scripture, right? It's been a while. For I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. Don't allow desperation to make you put your trust in one strong man or into one party, but be sure to always keep it in God. And I think that's
what it's really all about. We talk about this to get the truth out, and I have learned so much from it too. But at the end of the day, it matters, but it doesn't matter because God is still God and He doesn't change. And we can put our trust in that.
That's right. And we're going to have to, no matter which one gets in, because no matter the candidate, we still have a God in heaven. And both candidates, they're going to disappoint you at some point. They absolutely will. They'll make policy decisions that'll affect you that you don't agree with. So you really do have to keep your eyes on the things above, keep your thoughts on the higher things. And that's really the only way that we're going to make it either way, Trump or Clinton, Stein or, whoever. Johnson. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So on today's program, lots to talk about today. Planned Parenthood, the baby killing factory, put out a statement in an urgent letter to its members. This was yesterday. They said, if Trump is elected, we will lose our taxpayer funding. They're scared. They're going to lose the money that we're sending them to kill babies. This comes on the heels of Trump stating again that he will defund Planned Parenthood if elected president. Planned Parenthood CEO has put up $20 million towards Hillary's election. $20 million towards Hillary's election. So again, that's something to think about. Well, Hillary's back. She's back on her feet again after a health scare. Donald Trump went and had a physical examination. Again, I just love the biased media. This is so amazing because, again, I wouldn't care who they attacked. I understand they're going to do that. Just do it evenly.
Right.
Please. So Trump came on Dr. Oz. And of course, we know Trump's going to do it's going to be a big reveal, right? I mean, that's Trump. He comes on Dr. Oz last week when people started demanding that he release his medical records. Oh, why are we talking about Hillary? Just because she almost collapsed and fainted, just because she's been sick, just because she can't stand on her feet. But what about Trump? He's not given any reason for anybody to think he's sick in any way, but Hillary has. But he came under attack by the left, and they started demanding that maybe we need to talk about his health issues a little bit. So he came and shared those publicly on TV. And the main health issue with Trump was it a heart condition? Maybe some hidden disease, liver giving out, overweight by 15 pounds.
That's tragic.
Dun, 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 you fat tub of lard, Tina. Come on. The left-leaning news went crazy. His own doctor says he takes meds for cholesterol and is a bit overweight, but in excellent health.
But the rest of America, though.
Yes, this is a problem. Dr. Oz said that this is what he would want to see in any of his patients. But guess what? Guess what the left is focusing on? CNN, Clinton News Network, they came out immediately and said Trump's height and weight put him in the overweight category. And they just couldn't get enough of this, right? Donald Trump, when asked by Dr. Oz how old he feels, Trump said, I feel like I'm 35. And man, these CNN people, I watched it. They spent a good 15 minutes bashing him, saying things like this. I wish I had that mirror that he's looking at to make me think that I'm 35. And then it turned into, well, maybe we need to check Trump's mental health. This is no joke. This doctor sitting on a panel on CNN, he said because of that statement, because Trump said that he feels like he's 35, this doctor seriously said maybe we need to check Trump's mental health. Right. He wasn't joking. Clinton's campaign finally released some of her health information due to the pressure that they've received with her being caught on camera leaving the 9/11 memorial, barely making it into the van. She looked like prom night, 1989. Stumbling into the van. And I think this is just amazing. Again, the media, they went so far as to go back and look through Donald Trump's family medical history. They just can't find anything.
What a shame.
Gosh. Harry Reid, Senator. Harry Reid, by the way, Senator. He stood up on national television and mocked Trump's health, saying he doesn't exactly live the healthiest lifestyle, but you're so focused on Clinton, he says. He said if reporters want to question someone's health, and I quote, he said they should be worrying more about the older orange-tinted fellow running for president on the Republican side than Hillary Clinton. This is a U.S. senator talking here, people, on national television. The world is watching this garbage. They've got to be thinking, my God, hell in a handbasket. America has gone to hell in a handbasket. This is a U.S. senator talking here. Where's the decency anymore? Seriously, if everyone is so bent out of shape because Trump talks the way he talks, they're all talking like a bunch of middle schoolers who are mad at each other. Oh, yeah, well, you're fat. Oh, yeah, well, you look orange. Your hair. Oh, yeah, your hair. The world's on fire, and we're resorting back to name calling. This is from a U.S. senator. Reid went on to say that Hillary's incident was no big deal, that we've magnified the problems. He went on to say, take a look at his health, talking about Trump. Take a look at this character running for president. He complains about her health, he says. What does he do? He's 70 years old. He's not slim and trim, and he brags about eating fast food every day. This is a U.S. senator saying this on national television. This is what we're going to spend millions of dollars national television showing this idiot up there talking about he's going crazy because a 70-year-old eats fast food. He said that we've been unfair to Hillary, and he went on to say Trump has only released an odd letter from a doctor saying Trump would be the healthiest president in history. Reid quickly went from Trump's health to his business dealings, accusing Trump of cheating people out of money and saying that we need to see his tax returns, and accusing the media of letting him get away with having an audit and not releasing those yet. So here's the thing, is health an issue to you? You, the listener, we're talking to you today. That's our question today. Is the health of these nominees a factor to you? We want to know what you think. Contact us today.
After all the media concerning Hillary Clinton's health scare, is this an issue? Email us today at Don@2GuysAndABible, or get in the chat if you're watching the program today. You can text at 573-218-1871. And you all do remember back in 2012, the then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, when set to testify in front of Congress about Benghazi, slipped and hit her head and couldn't testify. They said she fainted and hit her head and suffered a concussion. She was 65 years old at that time. See if this sounds familiar. The State Department said that she was dehydrated because of a virus and fainted and hit her head, causing the concussion. Later on, the possible future First Lady Bill Clinton said in an interview that it took her 6 months to get over that concussion. We also have all kinds of pictures and videos that are surfacing showing her tripping, falling, and not able to make it upstairs without help, coughing spells, and what appears to be some kind of seizures. Is this cause for concern? Contact us and let us know what you think.
Yeah, but Trump eats burgers.
Right. And he kind of looks a little orange.
And he's a little chubby.
Right.
Yeah.
He's fake hair.
Mm.
Maybe. Is that confirmed?
Well, I don't know. You know, I saw Jimmy Fallon,
Mm-hmm.
the only man that could probably do this, asked Trump, because he said, well, the next time that I see you, you might be the president, and I can't do this to a president. Can I mess up your hair? And he said, all right. And so he did. I mean, he grabbed it and messed it up, and it stayed on. So I mean, it could be.
I mean, maybe he's spending all of his on his hair. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
These are the real issues.
These are issues.
Is Trump?
This is coming from the
real?
woman that I know with the best hair that I've met.
I'm concerned.
Yes, yeah. If she's concerned, guys, she knows hair. I'm going to tell you. Which you got a haircut, didn't you? You all can't see that. It looks good.
Thank you.
That's because it was so hot the other day. You thought summer was coming back.
Yeah, I was like, I got to get this off my neck.
Get it off my neck. I want to go on record here, and this isn't conspiracy. Can I go on and say that I think she has some form of Parkinson's? I've heard some medical experts recently that have come forward, and they're trying to silence these guys. And from what they're assessing here, they are saying the same thing. And but here's the thing. It's not so much what they're saying that leads me to believe this. What came to my mind watching her and kind of hearing what some of these guys were saying was Michael J. Fox. You remember Michael J. Fox, the Back to the Future guy, right? This made me think when he came out and he started sharing how he was able to hide that disease for years. He's had Parkinson's disease for years and years. And he was still able to be in movies and TV for so long until he couldn't hide it anymore. And he said it started with drugs until that didn't work. And then he said that he found that if he kept moving and shifting and walking and didn't stand still, that he could hide it pretty good by keeping the body moving. And it made me wonder, why is it that we don't see Hillary giving those up close personal interviews too much with reporters? And sometimes when we do, we see her kind of, there's some strange body movements that are taking place at times. And I think that's strange. And so again, Michael J. Fox said that sometimes stressful situations made it worse. Hillary's a master of being behind the podium reading lines off a teleprompter, but watch her get in a crowd of people and she can't hold it together. And that's just my opinion. I think it's early onset Parkinson's disease. That's just what it seems like to me when I'm looking at all. And I believe that more is going to be revealed about that soon, but that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. We also know that we have all these leaked emails coming out. And they're revealing some concerns that others are having with her health issues as well.
That's right. A leaked email from former Secretary of State Colin Powell shows that Clinton's health was a topic of discussion among top-tier political figures as far back as 2015. Among the hacked emails released by DC Leaks, an email between Powell and a major donor noted that Clinton could barely climb up the podium steps. Sheldon Whitehouse, also a huge Clinton supporter, had the same concern when he and she were speaking at an event together, and he too stated that she could barely get up the podium steps.
So guys, emails are personal, right? There's no spin there. There's no political agenda in these emails. These were people that were just talking back and forth, personal emails stating what they really believe to be a problem. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're coming out with some opinion now and putting it in an email. I mean, this is really from those behind the scenes. And again, know this, we need to pray for her because we now know that there's whispering going on about replacing her as a candidate, that if this health is going to be an issue, they're certainly going to postpone any type of debates so she can get well. And we don't want the Republicans to win the election this way because they're going to say it's unfair. She was sick.
Right. She
couldn't get out and campaign. Trump got in on a fluke. It's not right. So the Democrats, they are scared. I even heard this, and again, this is total rumor, but I'm going to stir it up.
Well, why not?
This is total rumor. This is total tabloid trash talk right here. That's not where I got that information, but this is what somebody brought up to me. They would tap into Michelle Obama replacing her. Think about that. Think about that. Michelle Obama possibly.
That's a whole nother ballgame.
Because they're not going to give up on getting a woman in there, but think about the first woman black president.
Right.
So the Democrats are scared. She's canceled trips and meetings and campaign stops. Thank God the president, Obama, he's taken time out to go and campaign for it because we all know then put the U.S. on hold to go talk about electing Hillary. And now he stands there and he says he will take it as a personal insult. Do not vote. Those are his words. I will take this as a personal insult if people do not vote for Hillary.
Oh, well, we don't want to insult him.
I'm sorry, Barack. Hurt your feelers. These are all in leaked emails, personal emails. No spin, no bias. These are people who support the Clintons. They give big money to them, but they're scared. They're concerned. So today I want to look at some people surrounding the candidates. Who has the ear of Donald Trump? Who is speaking to Hillary on a daily basis? I think right away, Bill Clinton, a man who, it's no secret, he's a man whore.
Uh-oh.
I mean, that's the truth, right? He's a liar. He stood right there on national television, friends. Remember this now. He looked you in the eye, if you were alive then. Shy, I don't know if you were alive then.
I think I might have been alive.
If you were alive, you weren't watching.
Right.
I'm sure. But he stood right there on national television and said that he did not have sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky, and he was using the highest office in the land to get women. This scandal followed him even when he was down in Arkansas as the governor. Said that they were using the Highway Patrol and National Guard to help sneak women into him while he was in office down there. So right here in the Oval Office, and he's tied up in all the exact same scandals that his wife is tied up in, and he's the one that has her ear. I say second closest person to her because I don't believe he's the first. There is someone else who holds that spot, Huma Abedin.
Huma Abedin. And here, I just got a message from Kelby. He says, this Monday, the 26th, is the debate.
Ah, thank you, Kelby. Yes, we're going to, I believe we're going to have Kelby on. You can send us another message. Let us know if you're going to be on with us next week because I can't wait to hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too.
Yeah.
So Huma Abedin is Hillary Clinton's top aide, and you can see her just about everywhere you see Hillary. So what about this woman who's so close to Hillary? Well, first off, she is a Muslim. Her religion is Islam, but there's some pretty deep ties in her past before she came on board with Hillary Clinton. There's some serious talk going around about this woman's ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, but as always, anytime that issue is brought up, the word Islamophobia, is that a real word?
It is now.
In the dictionary?
It wasn't when you were born.
Probably not, but I don't think Selfie was either.
That's right.
But anytime this this issue is brought up, the word Islamophobia is usually spoken, and that's enough to shut people up. Representative Sean Duffy of Wisconsin asked, why aren't we talking about Huma and her ties to the Muslim Brotherhood? Why aren't we talking about the fact that she was an editor for the Sharia newspaper? Huma wrote many articles against women's rights to work or what clothing they should wear. She also wrote articles against gay marriages and homosexual lifestyles, but then teamed up with Hillary as an intern and is now her top aide. Huma is the vice chair for Hillary's campaign. The Muslim Brotherhood is a Sunni Islamic movement that is a force in the Middle Eastern politics and labeled by many countries as a terrorist organization. She has also been associated with Top Sheikh, who publicly calls for jihadist activities against America and Israel. He promotes suicide bombings by both men and women and is the leading supporter for Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. He also runs a group that falls under American designation as a terrorist organization. Huma's mother is a movement of the Muslim Sisterhood, and they too have heavy ties to Hamas. Here are a few ways that the Secretary of State Clinton has aligned herself with the Muslim Brotherhood. Again, all of this just happens to take place when Huma came on staff. Could this be just a cosmic coincidence?
I know it is.
Or does this Muslim woman have the ear of Hillary Clinton? Since Huma came up on board, we rehearsed our policy against any formal contracts with the Brotherhood. We funded Huma's, saying that we needed to side with them so that they could help us in foreign affairs. The same Huma that is still designated as a terrorist group by our government. We funded Egypt even after the Brotherhood overthrew their government and won the elections. We mysteriously dropped a case against a United States branch of the Brotherhood that were under investigation for supporting terrorist organizations. We invited and hosted Brotherhood delegates at our White House, issued members of the Brotherhood U.S. visas. We sided with the Brotherhood that attacks on Israel and are not terrorist attacks. The list goes on, and all of this started taking place at the same time this woman came in and started working for Secretary of State Clinton.
Interesting. Let's go on a break here. But when we come back here, I want to go from Huma to Muslim refugees. I mean, Syrian. I have to say Syrian refugees. I'm sorry, I was corrected. Syrian refugees. But I want to look at what it is that the candidates are saying about who they're going to let come into the United States. This is 1412 Live on the 1412 Radio Network. We will be right back.
1412 Live, helping you do the works and greater works.
What does Jesus listen for? You. Talk to him. This is the 1412.
Whatever happened to them simple days? You know that childlike faith. Redirect our hearts toward praise. Redirect our hearts toward praise. Cause now we got so many different ways to take our eyes off your face. Redirect our hearts toward praise. Redirect our hearts toward praise. When entertainment is aiming to make a statement of faith, claiming a statement of fake, waiting for payment. When social media's youthful ingredients proves to be devious, ruins obedience, using our greediness. When faith evaporates, leaving a bad aftertaste, grieving for past bad mistakes. The reason that we ask for grace is, forgive me grace, redirect my praise. When television placates us, keeps us visions of greatness, elementary fakeness renders us faithless. When our employment is like a nice slice and through our enjoyment of Christ, life smited by a poisonous bite. With comfort with idols like mild to bumper stickers and these comfy slippers for tiles, the title monkey business.
Right, welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, I'm your host Don Allen, along with Shy Matt. We're still trying to get Matt in.
Yes.
We're still trying to get Matt in on here. We're going to get him in here pretty soon. I think you can see him on the video. I don't know if you can hear him yet, but Jay is wiring and rewiring and figuring out a way to get it. So we were asking the question today, our own little poll, if you will. Is the health of these presidential nominees an issue with you? Email me, don@2guysinthebible.com. Get in the chat room, talk to us today. We're talking about politics and the candidates and where they stand on the issues that directly affect you as a believer. And before the break, I mentioned looking at the issue of refugees. What about allowing refugees into the United States? I've seen posts from Christians that say that we have a responsibility to take in the less fortunate. I can remember some posts. I was trying to find them so I could quote them exactly, but I was pretty disappointed when I saw this person post this. This is somebody that we know personally. When they were talking about the refugees coming in, this is a person that has children, young children, and they were talking about, you know, taking the stance that we as believers are required by God to take in the less fortunate. This is all the while the FBI was saying, we can't vet these guys. They're going to kill people. And this person still was saying, yeah, but God said. Yeah, but God said. And so, you know, what about that? What about that?
The head of Homeland Security warned that we have gaping holes within the U.S. defenses, making the nation vulnerable to attacks similar to those in Paris. McCall, the head of Homeland Security Committee, said the influx of Syrian refugees fleeing the ongoing chaos provides perfect opportunity for Islamic extremists to slip into the U.S. undetected. One of the men involved in the terrorist attack in Paris, France, which killed 129 people, was a man who came into the country by disguising himself as a Syrian refugee. McCall said that he had spoken to the FBI and Department of Homeland Security, and all agreed this cannot be done properly. The White House continued its efforts to allow 10,000 more refugees into the U.S. Just in June alone, the U.S. allowed 2,300 Syrian refugees, putting us at the 5,000 person mark. 99% of these refugees identified themselves as Sunni Muslims, while only 8 people identified as Christians. Michigan accepted more than 10% of these refugees. Syrian refugees have been placed in 167 communities. All of this while the FBI directors said that they stated the vetting process cannot be done properly.
I mean, why are we doing this?
I don't know. And the fact that we have gaping holes.
Gaping, those are their words, gaping holes, and the president is still pushing. We've got to let them in.
Right.
We've got to let them in. Let me say this before Matt dives into the candidates. We'll see. We're still working. Michigan. How about Michigan? This place holds the largest Muslim population in the United States. This is still the United States, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm asking, Michigan is still in the United States, isn't that right? Last time I checked. Yeah.
Yep.
Because this just blows my mind here. Islam is the 3rd largest religion in the United States after Christianity and Judaism. So why is it that they have all the rights and we're losing ours? If they're the 3rd largest and we're the 1st largest, why are they getting all the rights and we're losing our rights?
Right. They don't have to bake cakes.
No, they don't have to bake cakes for gays, lesbians, or us for that matter. And we have to change our menus at Subway for them because, you know, that offends them if there's pork in the little slot next to their pickles.
Right.
It's an issue. These are the real issues. They estimate that there are 3.3 million Muslims in the U.S. And here is what is really happening here. Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan. In a surprise vote over the weekend, the City Council of Dearborn voted 4-3 to become the first U.S. city to officially implement all aspects of Sharia law. It goes into effect January 1. Sharia law. That's not United States law. That's not a state law. It's not law. They will implement all aspects of Sharia law. It goes into effect January 1. The new law could see citizens stoned for adultery, have a limb amputated for stealing, flogged for drinking and abortion, and allows child marriage. Not meaning two children can get married.
Right.
Right. Local resident Jeremy Ahmed, when asked about the need for such law, said, "It's because our need that Allah the Almighty in his generosity has created laws for us so we can utilize them to obtain justice." So we can, because, you know, we don't have justice here in the U.S. Sharia law is justice,
right?
They say. We hope to see other cities taking this action in the face of government's inactions of passing such legislation, he says. See, he's saying, forget what the U.S. says. That's what he's saying. Forget what the United States says. This is what we're doing here. Because they elected a city council that is all Muslim in Dearborn, Michigan. He says, we hope to see other cities taking this action in the face of government's inaction of passing such legislation. He's saying, forget what the U.S. says. This is what we're going to do here. And they have, and they remain, they're going to allow all of this to go on. And it's gotten so out of hand, it's ridiculous. 40% of Dearborn is Muslim. Well, where the heck is the other 60% then?
Right.
Standing up and doing something about it. We have video of Muslims stoning Christians in Dearborn. And you know what the police did? Because this is still in the United States, right? This is what the police did. And you can find all of this. I'm not making it up. They told the Christians to leave because the Christians were inciting a riot by being Christian. You have to leave. They have blocks in that city that have signs on them that are called no-go zones, meaning if you are not Muslim, you are not allowed to walk on a United States city street that the U.S. taxpayers are paying for because the Muslims have taken over Dearborn, Michigan. Areas that you can't walk into if you are not a Muslim. The police will not protect you. That's what the signs are for. If you walk in there, you're on your own. This is still in the United States, friends. Oh, it'll never happen here.
Right.
Right. Right. United States, all the while, Oklahoma lawmakers passed a law to ban American flags at a high school football game. You can't chant USA at games or you're going to be expelled, they told the students. No political t-shirts allowed in school. Why? Because we have to pander to everyone else coming into our country. This is the United States. Football players, they won't stand for a bunch of them won't stand anymore for the national anthem. Yeah, because they're so oppressed at $119 million.
Good grief.
I got friends that have come from outside the U.S., but they love the U.S. That's the difference. These people have done nothing but attack, gripe, complain, and take over. And so do we have Matt? Is he with us? Is Matt with us? Because we need Matt. Almost with us. All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. But what about candidates and refugees? You know, our own, Cheyenne just said, our top homeland officials, along with the FBI, says that we cannot vet these people properly.
Let's just go ahead and bring them in by the hundreds.
Yeah, we cannot vet these people properly. And they said this, they absolutely know that terrorists are mixed in with them, but Obama says let them in anyways. And so we're going to look at the candidates here in a minute when we get Matt in there, because he's pulled up something, immigration reform. He's pulled up the candidates, what they believe and what they're stating on their websites, and it's very detailed. But here's something from Newsweek, because the argument continues to surface. Well, even if a terrorist happens to slip through, it's such a small number, really. This is what, this is how they're excusing it is, well, I mean, we're telling you
it's just a little bit of terrorism. It's fine.
It's just a little bit. It's just a small bit of terrorism. Newsweek, 198 refugees arrive by makeshift boat on a Greek island. This is from Newsweek. It's an article that they wrote. 198 refugees arrived by a makeshift boat on a Greek island. It says that only 4 of those 198 were terrorists. That's 2%.
Just a little bit of
But
terrorism.
guess what that 2% did? They killed 130 people. This is Newsweek. Let me remind you, they give to the Clinton campaign, by the way. But they said the facts are the facts. ISIS is infiltrating into Europe, hiding them among the fleeing refugees. The Post was able to secure an interview with an ISIS commander who said the worst is yet to come. The article says on a crisp morning last October, 198 migrants arrived on a Greek island, all of them seemingly desperate people seeking sanctuary in Europe. But hiding among them were 4 men with a very different agenda, it says. The 4 were posing as war-weary Syrians, all carrying doctored passports with false identities. They were on a deadly mission for the Islamic State. 2 would masquerade as migrants all the way to Paris. There at 9:20 p.m. on November 13th, they would detonate suicide vests. Do you guys remember this? This was in Paris not that long ago. The other 2 men, they were stopped upon arrival for lying about their identities. They were delayed, but only for a few weeks, before being granted permission to continue their journey deeper into Europe. They caught them.
Right.
You lied to us.
Well, maybe if they delayed them a couple weeks, they might change their mind.
Yeah, and come to the U.S.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They said they believe that most really are fleeing for their lives, but they believe that over 3 dozen are terrorists, with 7 of those directly connected to the Paris attacks. So 198 and 130 died. So do the math. Because our current administration has already allowed 5,000 into the U.S. with a promise of 10,000 before he leaves office. Hillary Clinton has stated that she would continue this policy when she becomes president. And 198 of them, 130 people died out of a 2%. But we've got 5,000 of them. 10,000 before he leaves office. Clinton says she's going to continue this. Obama has come out and he says in this article, and a quote, that Americans fear those who don't look like us. He says that's what we fears. Again, bashing us as Americans, assuming that he knows how we think. He says that we fear those that don't look like us. It's always about racism to him. We don't like people who don't look like us, he says. The writer says wrong. We don't like people who kill us. So this 2% were able to kill 130 people. And what did we say? 167 communities have been forced to receive refugees. I bet you didn't even know. I bet some of you didn't even know that you have some of those refugees there. So I think it's quite possible that out of 5,000 here, I'd put my money on and bet that there were terrorists in there.
Right.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I would believe it. Do we have Matt? Caller, are you there? All right, I don't think we're getting Matt today. That's what it sounds like to me. Are you there, caller?
I can talk to everybody on the web.
I see his lips moving, but I don't hear what you're saying.
Subtitles. We need subtitles.
Immigration reform. That'll make America great again.
Oh, yeah.
This is guess who says this? Immigration reform. I don't even think we need these, do we?
Probably not.
We're pulling earphones out here. Immigration reform that will make America great again. The 3 core principles of Donald J. Trump's immigration plan. Here they are. This is right off of his webpage. I'm looking at it right here on my phone. When politicians talk about immigration reform, they mean amnesty, cheap labor, open borders. The Schumer-Rubio immigration bill was nothing more than a giveaway to the corporate patrons who run both parties. Here's what Donald Trump says. Of course, he says this must change. 3 core principles of real immigration reform, he says. A nation without borders is not a nation. There must be a wall across the southern border. I do want to remind you all that Mexico built a wall between them and their southern borders, by the way. But everybody's freaking out about us wanting to build one between us and Mexico. Mexico built a wall between them and Guatemala or whatever it is down there. My geography isn't really good. Number 2, a nation without laws is not a nation. Laws passed in accordance with our constitutional system of government must be enforced. I agree. We have laws that are set up to deport folks, but they're not being enforced. A nation that does not, this is number 3, a nation that does not serve its own citizens is not a nation. Any immigration plan must improve jobs, wages, and security for all Americans. Make Mexico pay for the wall, it says. Right there. For many years, Mexico's leaders have been taking advantage of the United States by using illegal immigration to export crime and poverty in their own country. as well as in other Latin American countries. They have even published pamphlets on how to illegally immigrate into the United States. The cost for the United States has been, U.S. taxpayers have been asked to pick up hundreds of billions in healthcare costs, housing costs, education costs, welfare costs. Matter of fact, I just saw this the other day, a video that came out of these students who are illegal aliens, 100% illegal aliens. They admit it. Everybody knows it. Illegal aliens, not U.S. citizens, standing on the lawn of a university demanding that we give them a free ride in school, free tuition, demanding that they get free tuition. Illegal aliens demanding that we give to them. Okay. I guess I'm going to have to send my son out of the country, have him come back in so somebody can pay for his education and not me. That's what I would like to take place. The annual cost of free tax credits alone paid to illegal immigration quadrupled to $4.2 billion, and that was in 2011. The effects on job seekers have also been disastrous, and Black Americans have been particularly harmed, he says. The impact in terms of crime has been tragic. In recent weeks, the headlines have been covered with cases of criminals who have crossed our border illegally, only to go on to commit horrific crimes against Americans. Most recently, an illegal immigrant from Mexico, along with a long arrest record, it says, is charged with breaking into a 64-year-old woman's home, crushing her skull and eye sockets with a hammer, raping her and murdering her. The police chief in Santa Maria says the blood trail leads straight to Washington, he said. Matt, are you with me? Talk to me, Matt.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Talk to me, Matt.
Yes. I am here. Everybody can hear me on the webinar, I know. I know they can't hear me on the radio, so
we might be able to
let them
go now. We got a microphone set up. We'll see how it works.
I'll let those guys keep going.
So what do you got for us, Matt? Talk to me about immigration. Where do these other candidates stand on immigration?
Well,
platforms.
Can everybody hear me on the radio on the 1412? I just want to make sure of that.
I'm checking with Jay. He's adjusting microphones here.
Okay, looking at both platforms is key. You brought up, I know you guys can hear me on the webinar. You brought up the illegals. The Obama administration has released 76,000 illegal people from its custody and criminal convictions since 2013. Where are they at? They're here. We're paying for all that. Can you guys, you can hear me, Donnie?
I can hear you. I'm checking to see if I can hear on the radio.
Yes.
Okay.
That he can hear you, Matt.
Right.
Yeah, the webinar, everybody hears me good, but I don't know about on the 1412. But what we would really encourage people is to go and look at both platforms. I put the links for you on the chat for everybody to go check both. But Donnie brought up healthcare. Okay, all these people who are here, they are here illegal in this country. There are two key points on the platforms I wanted to highlight. Hillary's platform on her website says specifically she would like to expand access to Obamacare to all families, regardless of immigration status. It's very clear if you look at the Democratic Hillary Clinton platform that she says the illegals should have health care. And I kind of know what everybody wants to, what do you think of that? The other platform, if you look at Donald Trump's platform, he says the key to our nation, and this is the 3 points that Donnie read at the very top. First, nation without borders is not a nation. Nation without laws is not a nation. And a nation that does not serve its own citizens is not a nation. And that is where healthcare falls into. We still have tons of people who have come to this country legally, people in this country who don't have healthcare. Yet, and the system is going bankrupt. And yet the one platform wants to expand it to all people who are in illegal status. And the other platform says we have to take care of what's going on first Specifically, like I just read you, you've got 76,000 criminals. 76,000 criminals. How about let's just talk about that? That the Obama administration has released from custody and criminal convictions since 2013. Should those guys who are criminals go back to their countries? Or, as one platform says, should we absolutely give them health care? Now, you know, we're bringing up health care for a good reason here. We're bringing up health care because if we offer them health care, guess what else? We're offering them a lot of other things. Donald Trump's platform talks about tax breaks. We're giving all kinds of tax breaks and benefits to not only just the criminal, the people who are here illegally, who are criminals. There's a lot of people here who are here illegally that aren't criminals. Let's point that out. A lot of amazing people. And, you know, they are in a legal status, and there's a plan for them. There's a plan for them on both platforms. What we want to do on this program is encourage you to look at both platforms. First off, are they doable? Can this happen? Can we even cover these bills? You know, Shai, what do you think of this when we start talking about all these numbers being thrown around? All the candidates, and during this time, everybody throws these huge numbers around. And what do you think of that when we say, well, we're going to pay for health care for these 76,000 criminals?
Are you getting your health care paid for?
No, I don't even have
I mean, you work.
healthcare.
You're here
Right.
legally. You were born here. Are you getting all these benefits yourself?
No, I'm not, and I know that there are tons of other people, and not just, you know, in general, but my generation, we work our tails off, and if our, you know, because I know for a lot of people, health insurance, if your parents have it, you're covered until you're 25 or whatever. But there are a lot of people my age who work full time, and we don't get any of that stuff, you know. And even if we do, if you happen to get insurance through your job, it's pretty minimal, you know. And with everything that we've been talking about, I just don't understand why it's so important to help all of these illegal immigrants and take in all of these refugees whenever we have people in America, you know, we have children in America, homeless children.
Right.
Why can't we take care of us first and then, you know, extend a hand? I think it's great to help others, but
That's so selfish.
I know.
How dare you want?
But it baffles me, you know, that we have enough of our own junk and we can't even take care of us first. But let's just, you know, pave the way for all these illegals. And like you said, there are some amazing people, but
Of course.
you know, and then we talk about the criminals that are being released. I just don't understand it.
Well, Shai, it says in 2011, the Government Accountability Office found there were 3 million arrests attached to incarcerated illegal alien population. 3 million illegals arrested because of violence and criminals in this.
Right.
How about this population you're talking about? How about the people here, these kids, the people here who don't have anything going on? We are paying, and I don't have a source on this today, right now here, but I know it's accurate when I say this. I know we pay greater than $50,000 per year in taxpayer money to anybody who's incarcerated.
Right. Well, and I know that you know, you look at how much money goes into the prisons, and then you look at how it goes into the education system. You know, just let's start with that.
Yeah.
What kind of food we're feeding our prisoners? Better food than we're feeding the kids in school.
Right.
And then
Cable television.
right.
Membership to the gym.
Right. But they're cutting out all of these programs. You know, it's just so absurd to me. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
At all. I don't get it.
Yeah. And this is, again, you know, Matt and I, being older, we've seen the progression of this. It's just been this way.
Right.
And it's easy, you know, I just think that's amazing to see a younger generation that has been born into this, and this is how it is for you.
Right.
And it wasn't always that way when Matt and I were you know, coming up and getting older here, we've started to see that progression take place. And it is so out of control. I'm sure we really haven't even scratched the surface of exactly how out of control it is. What's Hillary say about the wall? And because now I've got
nothing about the wall.
I saw some video of her saying before that she supported the wall. This is when she was running for Senate, that she supported building some type of a barrier. She called it a barrier to keep illegal immigrants out. And now, of course, she has her policies have developed differently, or whatever they want to say, flip-flopping, if you will.
Well, I think you said it earlier. The Obama administration has approved. It's 100,000, correct? Is that the accurate number? It's over 100,000 right now of refugees to come in.
Yeah, that's what he wants. Yeah.
Yeah. So and she agrees with that.
Yes.
She's on record as agreeing with that. So I know you want to look at that, and you want to, if we're just looking at both sides of it, are you okay that another 100,000 refugees come in quickly? And going back to what you guys were talking about earlier, and not just providing health care for these guys, but very, very first, do you want 100,000 coming in with our current system like we have it now? And that's really what needs to be asked of both platforms, both parties. What would each one do? Well, obviously, you're going to get those 100,000 to come in exactly like they've come in these last 8 years. Because under Hillary, she's going to do the same policies as Obama. This is out news this morning, guys. State Department spokesman John Kirby acknowledged on Wednesday, that's today. This story just came out today in the Washington Examiner report. And this John Kirby, State Department spokesman, works for John Kerry, correct?
Yes.
He was on this morning on Fox and Friends, and he said right now, he said that the Islamic State terrorists are trying to mingle with refugee populations overseas in the hopes of making it to the U.S. posing as refugees. So out of those 100,000 that Obama, Hillary are good with right now, letting it, that they said that's what they're going to do. What if those folks aren't vetted properly? What if some of them are posing as just your down and out refugees and they're coming in? He says, this is the spokesman for the State Department this morning. I wouldn't debate the fact that there's the potential for ISIS terrorists to try to insert themselves. And we see that in some of the refugee camps in Jordan and in Turkey, where they try to insert themselves into the population. Just said that this morning. Now, we know that one candidate has said they're going to toughen the vetting process. This is not just going to be just letting anybody in. But part of that starts with making sure we know who is coming in and out. There's no way to make sure that people come in and out without having security at your border.
Right.
You have to have security. I encourage everyone to go and read both platforms of the immigration. It is hugely telling. And I don't know if you guys, if you're having questions about immigration, you're having questions about all this, and you're out there listening, what you have seen on the news from both candidates is a tiny portion of what is actually on the two candidates' website. Have you noticed that, Donnie?
Yeah.
There's a comprehensive way that Mexico is going to pay for the wall, by the way. We do hear about Trump saying Mexico is going to pay for the wall. We're going to build a wall, and they're going to pay for it. And you hear him say that in almost every speech. But there is actually a way to pay for the wall with the wire transfers.
Yeah.
We transfer, some of the numbers say 21 million. I think, wait a minute. I think I have my numbers off on there. Just in 2013 alone, 22 billion. Sorry, billion with a B. 22 billion.
With a B.
We send, you got to do that with a B. We send wire from the U.S. sends wire transfers to families in Mexico. Just in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah.
A very small fee on those wire transfers could easily pay for a wall.
Absolutely, it could.
Easily. How about this? You know what could pay for a wall? This is amazing. It says that Mexico, for many years, they have published pamphlets for their citizens of how to illegally immigrate to the U.S. It costs billions in healthcare, housing, education, welfare for all those people who are illegally coming here. And Shai, you just mentioned two things. You don't have healthcare.
Right.
You don't have college.
Right.
Your housing's not paid for, like a lot of these guys. You can't. You're not on welfare. You're working for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Tax credits alone in 2011 paid for all this stuff that we're talking about here was $4.2 billion.
That's insane.
And you got none of that.
Right.
And that was 5 years ago.
Right.
Just in tax credits alone paid to illegal immigrants. And it had quadrupled in 2011. That is how you pay for a wall. That's how you pay for increased security. That's how you tighten up the border and make sure that no terrorists are inserting themselves. And now, guys, we're specifically going over all this because you're watching the news. You're out there on the 1412 radio network. You want to know what's going on. You might not be hearing a lot of this stuff. And we're talking about all this because we want to talk about the issues. And on Wednesdays leading up to the vote so that you're informed. But please be aware and please know none of this is about fear. Donnie, do we fear a terrorist inserting themselves into this group and not be able to do anything about it? And that's not why we're talking about this. We are talking about these issues so that you can encourage people to have the facts so they can go vote. They can make an informed decision and vote. Is this what you want? Do you want $4.2 billion to go to illegals per year? I don't.
Does illegal not mean what illegal used to mean?
Right.
I
My
thought
goodness.
it was illegal. Like you can't
Breaking
do
the
that.
law.
That's not okay.
Breaking the law.
Breaking the law.
But I guess marriage doesn't mean what marriage meant either.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about distorting all these definitions and watering this down.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about this because we're in fear.
Right.
Keep in mind, guys, we're not in fear of these terrorists. We rule by the power and the authority of Christ. We can do something about this. But the very first thing that you can do about this is use your right to vote and support the platform that is most aligned with your beliefs. And if your beliefs are to just pay for all this stuff unchecked, I would greatly have you look at these two platforms. Now, let's look at Hillary's platform. Because first off, her website, what she has and what she believes about immigration is very short. It's very short and it's very vague. There's no details in here. But she said that she will work to expand waivers to alleviate naturalization costs, increase access to language programs to encourage English proficiency, and increase outreach and education to help more people navigate the process. She promote naturalization. There's no specifics on that.
No.
You could just, every single person would agree with that statement there. No substance. Well, how is that going to work? What are they going to do with that? And check this out. Support immigrant integration. Sounds real good, right? She'll create a National Office of Immigrant Affairs and support affordable immigration services through, check this out, here's the number, 15 million of new grant funding for community navigators and similar organizations, and significantly increase federal resources for adult English language education and citizenship education. So I want to ask you guys, this all sounds fluffy and nice, but as we're looking at all these numbers week after week and looking at this, 15 million to help teach people English, what is that going to do against 4.2 billion in criminals that are getting tax, that are getting credits and housing and healthcare? I mean, do we know the difference between 15 million and 4.2 billion? This is a drop in the bucket. Now, I guess they need to learn English though, so they can do their criminal activities. I mean, you got to speak English.
They're like Rosetta Stone or something. They can just do that.
That's the best thing I heard all week, Shai. Rosetta Stone for every illegal immigrant. When you cross the border, by God, you get a copy.
That's right. A copy for you.
A copy for you. Copy for you.
Awesome. Hey, I want to go to a break here, but when we come back, I want to look at a place that has already modeled what it is that the U.S. is saying that they're going to do.
Yes.
Administration. I want to look at Germany. I want to look at Germany and how this is working for them. I'm going to go Dr. Phil on them. How's that working for you? I want to look at how this whole refugee deal is working out for them, because they were very open in allowing people to come in. And so I want to check that out. And we still want to hear from you guys. Is health an issue? Get a hold of us today, Don at twoguysinthebible.com. Get in the chat room. Let us know. This is the 1412 Live on the 1412 Radio Network. We'll be right back.
You want a dissenting point of view?
Do what?
You want a dissenting point of view?
A dissenting point of view? What is your view?
Well, we have money to pay for all these programs. We gotta tax the rich people. They're the ones that's getting the tax cuts.
Sure. My whole point is don't pay for the programs.
No, we can afford them, but we just have to, they have to be, we can afford a lot, but.
Yeah, but the word illegal is still attached. That's my issue.
Yeah.
Afforded or not,
Right.
illegal.
I was born in America.
America.
What do I get? $3.68 an hour.
America.
Well, we need to take care of us too.
Junkie.
Yeah, or I was just
How we looking, Jake?
getting so mad about that.
It's doing the Christ the Doer TV commercial. And then the song start playing.
All right, welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, it is the 1412 Live. We're about 20 minutes away from wrapping this baby up, but I wanted to talk about, we've been talking about the refugees. We've been talking about Syrian refugees. And I wanted to look at how this whole immigration thing has been working for Germany, because Germany has allowed them to come in.
Right.
And Angela Merkel, she's the bigwig over there, the chancellor in Germany, admits she lost control of Germany's refugee crisis, and she regrets that she did this. Now, she's been the most vocal of any of the world leaders of doing this. Wide open borders, let the babies come in, we'll take care of them. That she lost control of Germany's refugee crisis. Shai?
In Germany, where they opened their borders for Syrian refugees, they arrested 2 of those men who came in with the 198 others. They caught them planning a Paris-type attack in Germany. The 4 men planned an attack that included machine guns, suicide bombings, and targeting a busy central hub. They found an ISIS manifesto that stated they would infiltrate the Syrian refugee population so that they could send in jihadist sleeper cells. One man that they caught talked of how he infiltrated the migrant population and how it was a red carpet into the general population. He said, "My name and picture were all over the news, and yet I was able to stay in their homeland, plan operations, and move freely when I needed to. These refugees also pose another threat. Last summer, here in the U.S., reports started surfacing how Muslims were sexually assaulting and raping women here. They even videoed it. A developmentally challenged 5-year-old girl was gang raped by 3 refugee boys, all while our administration tried to cover it up. Just this past weekend, another refugee was charged with sexually assaulting a 33-year-old mentally disabled woman. In Germany, a 79-year-old woman was raped by refugees in a cemetery. Town Hall reports that Swedish officials said that they were trying to educate their refugees that here we don't force women to have sex with us against their will.
Come on.
One official making excuses for the rape said that many refugees come from cultures that are not gender equal, where the women are the property of men, and we have to help them adapt to their new environment. Mm-hmm. That's the answer to raping these 5-year-olds and 79-year-olds. Let's just hold a class and tell them that's just not what we do.
Darn you, slap their hand.
Right. The police chief said they need sex education because many of them have never seen a girl in a miniskirt. He said something happens to their heads when they see that.
For the love. Are you kidding me? In Germany, during New Year's Eve celebrations, dozens of Muslim men participated in rape mobs. This is what we're patterning. Right. Germany did it, so we can do this. So during New Year's Eve celebrations, dozens of Muslim men participated in rape mobs. They would surround the women, rape them, touch them, and steal their phones and their money. On that night alone, police received more than 1,000 complaints from women, 454 actual reports of sexual assaults. Friends, that's in one town square in one night.
Right.
One night, one town square, one night, one moment. A few towns over received the same thing on that same night, 351 complaints, 218 women reporting to have been raped.
Well, and I have to say, and I don't know the statistics, but women, whenever it comes to things like this, I know that there's a large amount of women who don't pursue the case.
Right.
They'll make a complaint, and if they're not validated through that, then they'll drop it. So these numbers are just women that
probably low.
Follow through.
Yeah.
With those.
But I mean, imagine hearing these numbers in New York Times Square.
Right.
Because that's what this was. So I mean, hey, the numbers are small. 218 women were raped.
Right.
That's small compared to the millions that were there.
Anyway,
they probably asked for it because they were wearing miniskirts.
And these men have just never seen miniskirts.
I mean, something goes crazy in their head.
Clearly, they didn't get the sex education class with the Rosetta Stone whenever they came into America.
We have to help these poor refugees understand.
Right.
That we just don't do that.
We speak English and we don't rape women.
We don't do that here. These poor guys just don't know. 672 rapes, all reported from Muslim migrants. All of them. All of them. It wasn't, oh, well, some good old boys got in on it too. All Muslim migrants that came in to Germany.
Right.
672 rapes in one night, 2 towns. That's just reporting from 2 towns. So just imagine, hey, that's Times Square this year. Let's just let all these guys in. And hey, it's only 672 rapes.
Right.
Big deal. Big deal until it's somebody you know. Big deal until it's you. This is who Hillary wants to allow into our country. I mean, just the statement from that guy earlier. Okay, so what if they really don't know? Okay, what if they're just really ignorant fools that don't understand? I don't get to have sex with every living, breathing thing that walks. I mean, I don't get to do that. Okay, what if they don't know that? Is that who we want here still? Still, is that what we want? Even these poor, ignorant guys coming in that just doggone it, just don't know that a miniskirt doesn't mean free ride.
Right.
I mean, is that who we want here? I mean, how many rapes do we have to put up with until we finally have taken enough time to educate these guys?
You'd think with Hillary being Miss Woman, feminazi.
Well, they ain't gonna rape her.
Right.
I can tell you that. Hillary wants to allow these people in our country to be around you and your children, your daughters, your wife, crap, your grandma, 79 years old. They don't care. 5-year-old to a 79-year-old. They don't care. Mentally challenged. These people are demonic. They're satanic. They're evil. They're vile. Not all of them, but these guys were.
Right.
And they are saying we are absolutely going to infiltrate the population so that we can sneak in. And the idea is to tell girls quit wearing mini skirts and let's educate these poor guys. Most don't want to cause any harm. I understand that. Just let them in. 5,000 are here. I know that most of them don't want to cause any harm. Let's just put your child in a room with 5,000 snakes and only 2,000 of them are deadly, or only 2 of them are deadly. 2%. 2% are deadly. Most just want to be left alone, but 2% will kill you. So let's just close the door and put your child in a room and see how long it is before they're dead, because that's what this is. You can't continue to blame. And I'm going to go off on this because I've seen believers that I know, people I know personally, pulling this stuff about, well, Jesus said that we have to take care of each other and love your neighbor. Your refugee neighbor, your gay neighbor, sure, no problem, until when we can safely allow them in, no problem. But we just can't do that right now.
Right.
Our own top officials are saying we can't do that right now. We cannot do it. I'm not willing to take the chance. The risk is too high. As I was studying for this program, we know that now the past week, another attack on U.S. soil.
And this is from Fox News. A Minnesota mall attacker referenced Allah before stabbing rampage, police say. ISIS claimed responsibility after a knife-wielding man injured 8 people at a mall in Minnesota Saturday evening. The man reportedly asked at least one victim whether they were Muslim and referenced Allah. ISIS-related media claimed responsibility Sunday morning, saying the executioner of the stabbing attacks in Minnesota yesterday was a soldier of the Islamic State and carried out the operation in response to calls to target the citizens of countries belonging to the Crusader Coalition. CNN reports on 2 separate bombings which took place over the weekend, one in New Jersey and the other in New York. They have a suspect they're pursuing in connection to the 2 bombs that went off Saturday. They also discovered several unexploded devices which led authorities to believe that it was a terror cell. This man is a naturalized citizen from Afghanistan. They went on to find other bombs near a train station in New York. All in total, 5 different devices were found.
So they caught him.
Mm-hmm.
They caught him. They shot him. The dad says, 2 years ago, I contacted FBI. Told them my son, he's not doing good. They checked him out and said, he's fine. He's fine. Oh, we understand he's traveling back and forth overseas all the time.
Afghanistan.
But, hey, he's fine. Until he's not fine. Here's what I love. And again, the corrupt media covering up for the Democrats. This is just remarkable. CNN. Again, Clinton News Network. Let me say here, I know it seems like we're campaigning for Trump here, but I need to be sure you're listening. Trump didn't destroy 30,000 emails. Trump didn't lie to Congress during the hearings. Trump didn't feint and lie about what was up. Trump didn't lie and say, I didn't know that the letter C meant classified. Trump
but you know,
some colleges he started that were junk, some bankruptcies. His wife, before she was his wife, posed nude in some foreign magazine. He's been divorced a couple of times, and he says things that make people shake their heads and say, who in the heck is this guy? He's ridiculous. So don't think that we're campaigning for somebody. I just can't help the facts that are surrounding Hillary Clinton.
Right.
But you know what he did? This is shocking, guys. The New York and the New Jersey, you know what he called those? He called those bombings.
Well, that's what I'm going to talk about. So check this out. Saturday night, these explosions.
I can't believe he would do such a thing.
This is what happened. New Jersey and New York, Saturday night. Trump's out giving a speech. I think he was in Colorado when this happened. And he finds out about this and he says something. And it was something that he said that makes the news media go crazy. So when the pulpit isn't going to talk about politics and what's going on, this is the crap you're going to get from the news.
Yeah.
This is the stuff right here that you're going to get from the news. This is what they're going to focus on. He's 15 pounds overweight, by the way. And he's orange with ridiculous hair. They jump. We're not hiring a model for president or a priest for that matter. They jump all over this crazy. 29 people are injured, 2 explosions, 5 other devices found. And check this out. CNN's Jake Tapper asked New Jersey Governor Chris Christie on the State of the Union Sunday morning, State of the Union, about the supposed contrast between Trump and Clinton's responses to the explosions, editing out Clinton's reference to bombings. CNN edited out that she said the word bombings, to create a false distinction. He cited Trump referring to a bomb in his speech. That's what Trump said in his speech when he found out he was taking time to address this. He said a bomb went off. And they're all mad because he said the word bomb before officials had publicly confirmed that it was a bomb. And they went after him for saying that it was a bomb. And then hours later, they found a bunch of other bombs. So they're trying to attack Trump for saying the word bomb on Sunday morning. Jake is talking with Governor Christie and brings up the point that Trump said bomb just minutes after this took place, and that Trump didn't really know if it was a bomb. And he should have waited until law enforcement said that it was a bomb, but he didn't. And he just came out and he said bomb. And Hillary waited and said, I think it's important to know the facts about any incident like this. This is the clip that they played of Hillary right after Trump said bomb. Now they're waking Hillary up. If you saw her, she looked like a drugged out zombie. Looked like she'd been to the kegger. Messed up. No, she was messed up. Watch the video. She was messed up. I mean, I'm sure she's on medications for the issues that are taking place, but you can tell she must have taken meds before she went to bed, not expecting to be woke up, because she looked like she was having a very hard time. So she says this. Trump comes out. His whole idea was this. We're praying for the people. We heard that there's a couple bombs that went off. This is why we have to tighten security, yada, yada. She comes out moments later and says this. I think it's important to know the facts about any incident like this. I think it's always wiser to wait until you have information before making conclusions. That was her response to Trump coming out and saying it was a bomb. Look how presidential Hillary is, they were saying Sunday morning. She isn't going to scare people and say it was a bomb. A president needs to be more controlled like Hillary and take the wise stance and wait for all the information in Trump. Again, such a loose cannon. So CNN is sitting here on Sunday asking the governor about what he thinks, because shouldn't politicians wait until more information comes in? What do you think, governor? But here's the problem. Again, amazing. Saturday night, ABC News. Right after the explosion took place, Hillary Clinton, and I quote, I've been briefed about the bombings. I've been briefed about the bombings. Wait a minute. Wait. I've been briefed about the bombings in New York and New Jersey and the attack in Minnesota. A reporter says, Secretary Clinton, do you have a reaction to the fact that Donald Trump immediately upon taking the stage tonight called the explosion a bomb? But she just said, she said bombings. He said bomb. Bombings, bomb. This is where CNN conveniently edits out the first statement of Hillary saying, I've been briefed about the bombings. They edit that part out, didn't play that clip. They played only the clip of her saying, I think it's important to know the facts about any incident like this. After Governor Christie defends Trump's actions because, as he said, well, Jake, it's all over the news and the media like yourself is saying it was a bomb. He quickly went to Hillary's vice presidential running mate, Kane, and the topic quickly turned to the birther issue. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, my goodness.
This is what is important. You started it. You did it. No, you did it. Bombs are going off, or explosions, or bombings in the U.S., and we're going to go back to the birther issue.
Or Skittles.
He said he wasn't born in the U.S. That's what they went to. That's what Kane talked about.
Or they're going to focus on Skittles, the
Skittles,
even more pressing, thing.
Yeah, Skittles was an issue. Donald Trump's son came out with a bowl of Skittles on Twitter. Said, what if I told you that only 2% of these were poisonous? Would you grab a handful anyway?
There you go.
Went crazy. You are dehumanizing migrants, calling them Skittles.
Now, as the believers, as the church of authority, what are we to do there, guys? If you're out there listening and you're seeing all this news and all this stuff, what are you going to do when you're in a mall and there's an attack? What are you going to do when there's a bombing? We need to speak as the church, as the body of Christ. Use the authority you have in Christ and speak against this stuff. Speak against this stuff happening. Speak to your town. Tell it to be filled. Tell all the people in that town to be vigilant, on guard, to be filled with the glory of God, so that we can thwart this stuff, so we can come against these attacks, so these things don't even come about, because the church is using their authority that they have. You don't have to sit here and roll over and just accept this stuff and just cower down. You're the triumphant church. You're the church of authority. Speak against this stuff happening. Which candidate is going to support you to speak against this stuff? There's one candidate that's going to not be a pansy and roll and just take whatever happens and let anybody in. They're going to thoroughly vet these things. They're going to thoroughly vet the 2 Skittles in the bowl and to come against this stuff. Now, you do it in the spirit. You, as the church, as the believers, do this for your town, where you're at right now. I find it amazing that on all there's no other religion in the name of God stabbing people in a mall in Minnesota.
Well, that's what one of the generals came out and said. I've not heard anybody yell Jesus Christ is Lord when they're stabbing somebody.
No. I don't even hear about a Buddhist going through. I don't hear about any of these guys going, how come? Well, who cares? Go in your town and you take care of business. I mean, authority, people. Authority.
That's right. Well, we do have to understand that all of these things that we're talking about are demonically controlled.
Right.
Exactly.
Like that, whether it was whoever, whatever they were yelling, whatever they were shouting, we have to understand that in the end, any religion that's going to base itself not off of Jesus Christ as the Son of God and not off of the Almighty God, Jehovah, then you're going to have trouble. And that was a point that I was wanting to bring up earlier, is that it said that only, like 4 out of the 198 identified as Christian or something, or whatever the stat was I gave earlier. All the refugees were Muslim. They were Muslim. So that's the whole other issue. Do we want to purposely invite in just one large group of a religion and not the others? We're just going to invite in all the Muslim faith in the United States and then expect them not to, because they're gonna do like you and I. They don't want to bend their beliefs either. They're not going to allow any one of our candidates to stand there and say, now listen, Mr. Muslim, you have to bend your beliefs to accept us.
Well, we can talk about Sharia law next time on the broadcast.
Yeah,
we can talk about
law.
We got to talk about it. It's important. There's some cities now in America that are Sharia law based.
Dearborn's one of them, are on the fast track to be in one. Friends, guess what? We're out of time. Today, Shy talked too much.
I know. I'm sorry.
But hey, we don't go anywhere today. We're leaving, but you don't have to go anywhere. 1412 Radio Network will be on all day long. We got great programs coming up. Interpulpit Radio Blast with Pastor Rick Bell. We got the Spellmans coming up. Got Mad Christian Radio coming up at 1 p.m. And again, make sure that you share these when these videos come out on Facebook. Share that link. Share it with your friends. Tell them to tune in next week. I think we're having the Raiders, or at least Kelby's going to be with us. Little Radar Love with us next week. So praise God, we'll have them in with us. And he's going to bring us another view on some of this stuff and talk about some facts. I know he's a guy that's got his facts straight. So he's going to talk to us next week. So, hey, make sure you join us. Don't forget all the other videos that we're offering through these programs. Go over to YouTube, Two Guys in the Bible YouTube channel, and check out all of our videos. We're well over 500 videos deep now, I believe. So check all of those out. You'll find the radio programs on there. You'll find TV shows on there, Saturday Night Special with Matt. You'll find all those different programs airing on there. Praise God. Hey, don't you go anywhere. You stay right here on the 1412 Radio Network. From all of us here at the 1412 Live, God bless you. We will talk to you next week.